back we are once again for the second to last time this season, actually, with some 2S racing. It is race evening, Sunday evening, and we are here at the beautiful, but also a little damp, more than damp actually, it looks kind of soaking wet, Interlagos, for the 20th round of Season 7 to SLR Tier 2. And alongside me is the one and only Tipsy Bob. Hello.
Tipsy boy, yes, I just had a quick check there for you, Timo. Everything seems to be all good on the stream, certainly my end.
After one season, I finally figured out how to bind two hotkeys. I'm so proud of myself.
I mean, better late than never. I tell you what, we were racing here yesterday in Brazil, and I am thank the Lords it was not as wet as it is now, because Brazil is a nightmare in the wet. Well, I think most races are a nightmare in the wet for me, but yeah, let's just say I don't envy them at the moment.
Yeah, I mean, rain is always a thing. Like in 2S, I never wanted to rain because then I know that I'm screwed and the others are like good enough to not be screwed. And when I do Tier 2, I think, okay, these are all these guys who practice so much, but they never practice in the wet. So if it doesn't, like if it rains, then we're all equally bad. So that's my chance. So in Tier 2, I'm actually always looking forward and hope for rain. But in SLR, where I know that everyone's like, I mean, there's these massively fast guys who just don't put that much practice in anymore because they have the general racecraft. So I know with them, they're just gonna use their racecraft and their kind of sense for the car to navigate around the circuit even without having practiced in the rain. So in 2S, it's always a little bit of a worry. I'm certainly scared of tonight. Hope it's not gonna rain there. But for now, it definitely rains here, and I'm excited to see what's happening. I've been following DJ Mario around a little bit, and he looks like he's struggling in the wet. You can tell he's probably not practiced this a lot, and I also think I can tell that he's not using traction control or something, because he's been going off course a little bit lately. By lately, I mean the last lap.
Yeah, I've seen chatting to a few of the top boys as well in the past about, you know, how can they just get so much pace in the wet. And some of the guys actually tell me that they find it easier driving in a wet race in Formula 1. I mean, for me, it just boggles my mind. I think for me personally, I think it's just more of a mind game thing for myself. Whereas I'm just kind of petrified to put the power down, because I do not want that thing to, you know, the rear end to kick out on me. Whereas other guys, you've just got no fear and they just wing it. And you know, like Speedy, for example, in particular, I mean, in the dry, he's formidable, but in the wet, he's unstoppable. I mean, it doesn't seem to have any effect on him whatsoever.
Yeah. I mean, it kind of reminds me of something I've heard on Beyond the Grid, like, recently from Martin Brundle, that, like, back then in the 80s, you were well off when you got the car to the apex in the right gear and you were facing the right way, and, like, that's kind of like driving in the wet, to be honest. I think it is, if you're in the wet, like, so much more attention is focused to being on top of your car at any time and just getting it around the track. And in the dry, it's more of this precision work that Brundle assigned to the modern cars in the podcast. So I think it's kind of a parallel, because for the top drivers into SLR Tier 1 and also SLR Tier 1, they are all so closely matched that braking like 10 meters out of place is a mistake that's gonna cost you like half a tenth, and that builds up over a lap, and suddenly you're out of a second. So and that is kind of different in the wet. You can get away with more less precision as long as you are on top of the car. So I think that's probably a reason for that. And as long as you don't get away with everything like the two of us probably, then it's difficult.
Yeah, I've seen a few guys. Well, we've lost Joel early on. He hasn't even set a lap. I think Joel may well be doing pretty much what oh no, hang on. I was gonna say he's probably doing what I do. But whenever I say it's a wet race, I head straight to the retire button. I don't even waste my time. But no, it's just checking on the chat here. He said he span out of turn 2, and that's a game over for him.
That's the first. I mean, that's the first time Joel actually crashed out of qualifying instead of just disconnecting. That's
another guy we've seen. Yeah, no, another guy we've seen that lost as well is H. Luca. he seemed to retire pretty early after settling a lap. I'm wondering, Timo, I haven't been given any weather updates yet, but I'm wondering, is the track actually going to get worse? Is it going to be a soon switch to the full wets? Oh, he's rejoined.
Luca's back. You're giving me a little bit of echo, by the way. But only when I talk loudly. Now it's gone.
No, I think it's I think it's Timo because I was at last minute. I normally would have my headset on for the comms, but it's actually coming through my speakers, so it's push to talk for me. So whenever you speak, I'll stop speaking.
Or you just quickly get your headset.
Do that, yes.
That's great. Anyway, so redirecting the focus a little bit to the qualifying session that I have respectfully ignored so far. Good lap from Ocean Chief. I think I've made the joke like only 230 times so far about driving in the wet and the track being like an ocean. So that's why he's good here. He's 2/10 behind Wimpy. That's some classic German humor, yeah. I can literally feel how no one will ever laugh at anything again. So, Ocean is in P7, just behind Wimpy. They both struggled a little bit last time out in Suzuka. No, wait. Suzuka? No. Last time was Coda. I think in Coda they were both outside of the points in like P12 and 13. So, starting off the qualifying session in P6 and 8 is a good way to get off the ground, and let's see if they can build on it. For now, Vessel, though, is leading the way on an 18.8, which is like precisely 11 seconds slower than you would be able to go here in the dry. I expect the pole times of 2 SRL tonight to be roughly like there, 7.8, 7.9, that's what I think. And
I would expect that too, man. Yesterday in Tier 1 in Brazil and SLR, it was a completely dry track, perfect for qualifying, and leaving it to the very last second, Wow crossed the line with a 1 minute 7.8. And I can't remember who was second. I think it may have been Julian with a 1 minute 7.9. Or Jensen, sorry, yeah. They were really close to the top 5. And like my personal best so far was yesterday was a 1 minute 8.5, which I believe you've done a 1 minute 8.3. So it's game on, Timo, for tonight.
Well, it's short quality, and in Tier 2 I don't know if you saw what happened, but if you do, then
nope.
You didn't. I had no DRS for the entirety of qualifying, but my last run, it was I had a DRS failure.
Oh yes! Oh yes, I did see that.
That was amazing. Well, I bottled all my laps, and then on the last one I did like a 9 flat, which was like.
Yeah, you came 15th, I think, or something like that.
Exactly, P15. Yeah, so that could have been better. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to put it together today. I've already moved on to Abu Dhabi, if I'm honest. To beat the guy that we're currently watching, by the way, Satoshi, who's in P4. It's a little bit more than half a second off Vessel for now. And
just reading the chats, Timo, sorry, Joel's getting a little bit of action going on you here, his fellow commentator, because he was listening to that little discussion we were having about you having no DRS, and he just says, "Oh, I thought you were just slow." I mean,
that's certainly true, though. I mean, I did bottle my times extraordinarily, but the DRS was still not there, so realistically I only had 1 run. And if I look on the scoreboard in this race right now, I see P17, and I'm thinking, no, you take that. Satoshi puts it in still 4th, but he's managed to improve on his time. And Bertie is also in the meantime snatched pole away from Vessel. I think I actually don't quite remember. Was Bertie good in Coda? Commentator's memory. I do not know.
I mean, talking about memory, I'm older and I don't even remember Bertie, in the greatest respect to him.
Did you watch it? Did you watch Coda? What? Because that was his first race. If you didn't watch Coda, then you can't know him.
Okay then.
Is he potential? Oh, he comes together with Eddie or Infernakoi. Yeah, it was Infernakoi, and he gets a grid penalty. But I hope Bertie doesn't get one, because he's currently in pole. That would be such a shame. I think he's gotten away with it. So penalty for Infernakoi drops him to a provisional P18. Not good for him, but At least it's not the pole sitter. That's it.
But I'll tell you one person who's pretty good in the wet, Timo, in terms of the race, is Mr. P10 there, Ocean Chief. Chief's actually surprisingly decent in the wet when it comes to, not necessarily qualifying pace, but race pace. If he's able to avoid any of the incidents, I reckon Chief will be doing all right. He has been a bit out of practice lately. He's just been busy with other things in life. But what's this? I think it's his second race today. Oh, who's this? We've got NJJ went off track.
Oh, yes. Satoshi in the meantime has claimed the provisional pole position away from Ian Birchie by a tenth of a second. So things are still very tight up top. You can also see the gap between Birchie and Vessel. It's 5,000 of a second. So I imagine that in the last 5 minutes there's going to be some twists and turns in that. Go on, sorry.
Yeah, I was just going to say, well, Joel's keeping us informed in the chat that we're actually going to have a dry race, which I am pleased about, because I've said in the past, in times whenever I used to commentate with bands, that how often I get a little bit annoyed whenever there's so regularly wet races, because I think it kind of kills the racing to some degree. But so that makes me pleased. Thank you, Mr. Joel, for letting me know that.
I remember that time. It was I was driving there, of course, in Tier 2, and that was the time when we started making these weird regulations with the coin flip or rain every other weekend or something like that, because it was terrible. It rained like every week. I remember it very well. It was pretty annoying.
Yeah, so do I. I mean, tracks that you just wouldn't expect it to rain, it rains.
Prepare for Abu Dhabi.
Yeah.
Well,
like in the Paul Ricard, that's in Le Castellet, the Sud de France in the Var, which I know well. You've got like 300 days off. Oh, NJJ's way off track. Oh, he somehow managed to survive that one. You want to see that? That was a wicked snap he got there of oversteer.
It's a difficult call. I mean, you have to.
Yeah.
I'm scared to put the foot down there in the dry, so I don't know, man. And also, France is like, for some reason, super rainy in this game, or generally in games.
It shouldn't be, because I think Kitty will obviously keep me in check, but I think the record there is our average of 300 days of solid dry sunshine. Solid dry sunshine? Well, what other kind of sunshine do you get? You know what I mean? It's just dry all the time.
Sure, yeah, right. Anyway. Well,
in Ireland here, where Kitty shortly moved over here, she couldn't understand the weather, because it could be completely the sun's shining with very little cloud at all, and it's absolutely pouring in rain. It's like, where is it coming from? She couldn't figure it out. But we're getting into the business end now, Timo.
Yeah.
2.5 minutes to go.
Yeah, speaking of business, Vessel definitely means business, looking at that 18.5. It's 2/10 ahead of Satoshi for now. And is that actually a lap that he's on there? I don't think. Oh, actually it is a lap. He's going to come across the line, and that is an improvement, and now he tops the field by 0.5 a second. That's a steep hill to climb, if I'm honest.
Yeah, that's quite an impressive margin he's got so far on Satoshi. The thing is, can Satoshi, whom had just lost out on the... What did he miss out on the championship there? Was it SLR Tier 2?
He hasn't missed out yet. I'm doing my best to. But he's not ended it yet. That's true.
He's getting very sideways there as he was getting him ready to set up this lap. So we're going to run on board with Satoshi, Timo, him or Bert, who is further ahead. So Bert is going to cross the line first to start his lap. So we can watch both of them if you want. I'll keep it. All right, so I'll keep an eye on wee Bert here. So Bert, nice and gentle around this first section of the tricky section in Brazil, the NS. Easy to lose the traction in the dry, never mind the wet. Keeping an eye on it.
I noticed that he's using quite low gears. Personally, when I drive in the rain, I'm like short shifting by like 1 gear, sometimes 2 more than I would in the dry. But he's basically using his dry gearing, which I find interesting.
So I just checked. There's Satoshi is up 0.4. Birdie was only up 0.1 in Sector 2. So checking on Sector 2 with Birdie, we should see him shortly crossing the line for Sector 2. Let's keep a wee eye on that delta to see has he improved. Meanwhile, while we are watching these guys, Samek sneaks in at P2. So no pole for him, but Birdie, Luca, Satoshi, any of these guys can snatch it away, but the first guy will have it.
Wow, Bertie was absolutely... he had a pretty nice snap there.
He's only improved by 0.2. Oh, Satoshi's off! He was up by 0.3. Satoshi is out of contention for pole. So really, Birdie's the only one who can snatch it, and he's just under 0.3. It's not going to be enough. But will he snatch P2? No, he doesn't. Satoshi will probably stay in P4. Cubson comes in P5. Is Luca is down by 0.3, so he certainly won't get it. What about NJJ? He's coming around just to finish Sector 2. Where is he at? Has he improved? I don't think he's going to be able to prove enough to take pole. But can he get...
I wonder actually if Sanix or... I mean, if Bertie is still on a lap, like he's doing another one. You can do that on the intermediates.
Yeah.
Tower obviously doesn't carry over. Sanix is retired his car, and Bertie is absolutely drifting up the hill there. That's incredible car control from him there. So he's gonna continue on this lap, and he still has 0.4 to find if he wants to be on pole, if he wants to start from that very front spot. Justin puts himself into B4. Really good performance considering he's only driven without traction control for a little bit of time. So a good showing in the rain from him here. Maybe we'll see him in Tier 1 next season, but that's to be decided. Now Bertie is going to come out of Yunsao up the hill for the final time of the session, but no, he's run out of fuel. Oh.
And he was up on his time there, just under 0.2, which would have got P2.
Yeah, would have been ahead of Sanix, and now he's frustrated, so he put it in the wall. Nice front row. I mean, great qualifying from Vessel, of course, and then also nice qualifying from Sanix. Puts himself on the front row. He's a quick boy. I mean,
oh yeah.
Well, guys, also, I don't know if you're aware, he's also driving ACC, and he's had a brilliant showing in on the Hagara ring, as where he almost took P3 away from Curse on the last lap. So he's really quick.
But we've seen there as Birdie was coming in after running out of fuel, that little bit of frustration banging the wall. Understandable, he probably wanted to get that pole naturally, but he shouldn't be too down on himself. It is a dry race, and he's stuck himself in the best, well, considerably the third best place, effectively, on a tricky qualifying session. So look at down that grid, man. Top 10, quite impressive. I'm actually quite chuffed with Chief, because Chief has had very little practice, from what I know off late. And to jump on to Brazil, which in itself can be a bit of a nightmare if you're not really switched on. You can lose the traction very easily on it. Never mind wet race or wet quali. He stuck it in there at a 19.2 in P9 with his teammate Wimps.
Yeah, I mean, he's outqualified Wimpy by half a second. That's pretty impressive. They are still on the same starting row, but the margin between them is pretty big. I don't know if that was track and weather evolution of Chief just absolutely got his put his
finger out, as we would say. He got his finger out and he got stuck in.
Exactly. That's what I mean. So great performance from him. Let's hope he can build on that in the qualifying in the race. The race is going to be quite interesting on strategy as well. I don't know what people are gonna do. I mean, it's a soft medium, but it basically just is a guessing game of safety cars. So I don't know what I would do. Probably go in mediums, but I don't know.
It's a tricky one. Soft medium, would you say, is the best bet, really? But yesterday I had my strategy planned out that would give me a good advantage on the pits, because I've been practicing a little bit. But that was completely thrown out the window, because there was not one but two safety cars in Tier 1, and Tier 1 in SLR is actually reasonably clean, you know, some great racing. But these things happen. It's Brazil, it's the nature of the track. We've had more difficult tracks, so to speak, but hardly any safety cars at all. But it's just Brazil, it's the nature, it's the elevation change, it's the off-camber corners. It's, you know, if you don't respect the track, and you're a bit too greedy on the power. Yeah, it just snaps your head off. It's like a bear. It's like keeping a grizzly bear as a pet. He's all nice and furry, but if you poke him too much, he rips your head off. Exactly. So that's basically Brazil.
Yeah, I mean, that's very true. So that's why personally, I mean, I just said something to the contrary, but by actually thinking about it again, I would go for the soft medium, as I did in Tier 2, and I think I was also able to pit it in the proper. Oh no, wasn't that the one race in the SLR Tier 2's existence where there was no safety car?
I think so.
I think that's true, yeah.
Well, I had 2 questions I want to ask you, Timo, before we finish round. First of all, Mr. Idiot is asking, that name's brilliant, some idiot in chat.
There's some idiot in chat.
It's like there's some fool here and he's asking for tires. Like, some idiot's a brilliant name. Some idiot is asking for tires, please.
We've got the tires up here.
And the other thing I like to ask you, Timo, is while we're on strategy, so can you tell me exactly what strategy you're going to go for later today in Tier 1 and tell me what lap you're going to be pitting?
Well, I'm going to start on soft and I'm pitting whenever the safety car's there.
The safety not giving nothing away.
Well, I mean, that's literally my plan.
That's a high-risk plan, Timo.
Either when the safety car is going to be there, and there is going to be a safety car, or when my tires die, so whichever happens first.
Right.
I mean, do you have a proper strategy?
Yes.
Really?
But it never works anyway, so I might as well just adopt yours.
There you go. Well, let's hope everything works out for this grid as we're gonna go for the second to last time in Season 7. We're gonna get the 5 red lights here at Interlagos with Sanix challenging Vessel into turn 1. We go green in Interlagos, and it looks like Vessel got a better start off the line here, and he's already got his car well ahead of Sanix. Bertie on the outside, and Satoshi's already ahead of Justin. They're gonna run side by side through the center S. There's always a little bit of carnage in the back, but I don't see anything going wrong there so far. Luca and Kupsan both get through really well, and now there's yellows, and I don't know why. Oh!
Chief got pushed.
Oh no, he's down last.
And he's dead last, as well as Furious as well.
Wow. Justin's in P2, and Bertie is now struggling on traction. He's got together with Luca there a little bit. Satoshi dropped some positions, and Justin is up into P2. So there was quite some shaking up on the grid order. NJJ and Kupsan are running side by side in the right-hander up the hill. Well, that worked out fine for them. And now Luca got his nose in on Bertia. Bertia's going to have some more grip because he's on softs. And Justin, who's also on softs, made his way through the order really quickly. Rust has spun, so he's now last. Furious is also has had a problem somewhere for sure because he's also down the order. And the soft runners are slowly getting past the medium runners. The Sanix makes a mistake and now Bertia's in P3.
Yeah, it seemed to be an alpha. I think it was an alpha was just forcing his way around the first section there, and Furious got pushed off track, and then also
we're gonna get 3 wide into turn 1. Let's hope this goes good. Luca in the middle and Bertie on the outside. Sanix tries to hold his ground, and they're gonna go 2 wide now through the center S, and Sanix gets into the side pod of Luca, but Bertia gets himself into P3. So now 1, 2, and 3 are all soft runners, and then we've got a medium train down to P6 for Satoshi, but Luca is not happy with that, and he shows that to Bertia, who must have had an anxious look into his mirror, looking at that car. Clara gets his nose in, and there goes Satoshi, and he's certainly out of the race. Gets collected by Wimpy, and that's the South African's race done for sure. Oh dear, that was a big off.
Yeah, there's a lot of action going on track here, Timo. It's hard to keep track of it as well. Mario was being really feisty with, who is that? Was with Joe. There was a little bit of touching, so, Joe gets a tank slapper coming out of that one. Yes, Mario seemed to have who is that? That was Larson. Went up the inside of Mario in contact, but they somehow survive. I would not be surprised if there's a little bit of wing damage there, although his wing seems attached still. Sorry.
Attached.
Intact.
That's almost swipes into the wall there on the outside. It was pretty quick. Pretty wide, actually. So we're gonna get DRS now, but Lassen might not even need it because he's going down the inside here on the car of DJ Mario.
Mario gets really sideways in turn 1 and he survives it somehow, but he's got the Red Bull or the
that's Joel's end for sure, and he collects XTXP. What is going on?
Goes the XTPs as well off the track. Carnage. And Joe really jumps in front of the Wimper, who's that Chief. Somehow avoids contact. Woo!
XTXP has died as well. Oh no.
XTP died in front of Joel. It's like sequential swimming on the track. He's got no front wing and he's going to track all the way back. It's going to be a horrendous track back to the pits for XTP.
Yeah.
Yes, nice. Doesn't matter. They know who I mean.
Prich and Luca. Oh, the bridge is dropping. He must have had an incident there. That's at the end. That's coming out of Jinsao on the main straight. Oh, the Haas have to avoid him going around the outside. Inferno Koi just about gets him back onto the track before sliding into the tire barriers. That would have been an embarrassing way to end your race. Didn't happen though. So that's good. But Bridge now he's now in the position Jensen was in last time out. He certainly has got pace, but he needs to shove his pace down everyone's throat and show it. He's got 2 medium runners ahead
Cubs going for a move on Clara. Clara tried a little bit of defensive move. Cubs on snicks it in, but he still can't get the move done. Clara runs off a little bit of track, but he might have another go up on the inside. Oh, Clara! That was a late move, defensive move there. Could have been carnage. You need to be careful with those defensive moves. As we see Sanex just up ahead of Clara, running a little bit deep.
The expected pit stops from Joel, XTXP, Satoshi will happen. So now they are down the order. Also, Furiosus has pitted at some point, and I wonder what Kupsan's going to do here. If you talk to Jensen about Interlagos, he's going to make no secret of the fact that he absolutely hates the DRS training. Oh, that's Luca! What the? Luca's casually being lost. That's the wrong way. He's done a Kimi Räikkönen. He doesn't know where the track is. Oh, I don't know, you got off there. Must have spun in traction or something, I don't know.
Oh, knocks up again, turn 1, and it's going to give the Cubs on a sneak up the inside. If he plays this right, he'll get the cut back on the second DRS. Clara will have very little to do. He's not defending. Clara should have been straight over there to defend that, but he's not going to bother. I think he's just going to let Cubs go. I think when watching Clara, the tires is kind of really abusing those softs. And
and Birchie are still fighting. They've been fighting since the start of this lap for them, and they've changed positions multiple times, but in the end Inferno has managed to counter the move, and he is back up into P8, and that's going to be annoying for Birchie because he's certainly faster. He's running those softs, and he knows he needs to get past. Returning to the point I was going to make earlier, the DRS train will mean that Inferno also gets DRS, as does Birchie, so it's practically no advantage, and overtaking is going to be a hard task. Unless he gets such a run, he sticks it down the inside, he's absolutely shoving his way past here, but he's done it! That wasn't the cleanest of moves, but it worked, and now Inferno is going to get to... hold the DRS, he gets a punt from behind, that's Larsen getting into his rear, and they are going to fight up the hill here.
We're going to have an interesting battle here for effectively P3. These 4 guys are all... oh, Clara, 3-second time penalty. Kind of in this DRS train. The person who will potentially lose out here will be Sanex, unless these 2 soft runners, their tires would burn out quicker than expected because they're being a little bit aggressive with these softs. You can run these softs pretty deep into the race if you're careful, but... oh, and NJJ is really forcing up on the back here of Clara.
Oh, Larsen is dropping. He must have made a mistake. He's down 2 positions to Wimpy and Luca. Look at Luca! I thought he was going to go for that, but he thinks better of it. He lifts off, and there's no collision. Absolute send from him on Wimpy. And Wimpy certainly saw that one coming because he did not turn into the apex, even though it was well within his rights. So Luca's getting away on the mercy of Wimpy, who proves to be the patient one, and gets behind. So Luca...
also worth mentioning, Timo, it's a great recovery from Chief already, from getting dead last. He's up to P13 already. As we see a guy coming into the pits, and we have NJJ go for a move on Clara. Clara taking the defensive move. There's very little he's going to be able to do here, but hopefully he gets his breakpoint pinpoint. He has locked up a few, and if he keeps his nose in here, he'll get this move back again on the DRS. But it's very messy from Clara down that Senna S. But he still might be able to capitalize on this DRS.
Sanix. Up ahead, we're going to get another move, and that's Kupsan and Sanix. They're going to ride side by side, but I think Sanix might just hold it. What happened behind? Yeah, and JJ is still ahead of Clara. So there's 2 fights there. Wimpy and Larsen is also brewing down the order, and Wimpy stays in P11 rather. He's been in P11 earlier, and it looks like Larsen's got the pace on him though.
And further up ahead, Timo, there must have been an incident with West, because he was at one point he was 1.6, I think, seconds ahead, and now he's dropped down into DRS zone for Justin. And Justin gets a little bit messy coming out of the last.
Luca. Send from Luca on Inferno car. He wants to get back to through the field. He's made a mistake. He's been parked here. And oh no, Inferno car! Inferno car goes round and he manages to, well, not really hold it, but like not die as he kills the 100 meter.
Comes Sanex for P3, turn 1. He has the move done before the first corner. And we have the Toro Rosso sneaking in the background as well, but I think we should keep on board with Sanex here. Will he be able to get the comeback here on Cubs on? He's too far back. The DRS is not effective enough at this short range, and that is that move done for the moment. Sanex will be, of course, wanting to keep up behind Cubs on here as best he can to get use of that the upcoming DRS train. So quite a bit of action going on so far this first almost 10 laps of Brazil. As I said before, it is the nature of the track. It does throw up some great racing. Some people say it's hard to overtake other than the DRS zones, but not true. It is not true. You can send it in this race, in this track, as we are seeing plenty of.
Yeah, I mean, I must say it's quite impressive that we didn't have a safety car yet. There were two absolutely massive crashes for Joel and Wimpy, and Satoshi as well, so they are still running. I mean, Joel is retired in the meantime, but I was in the pit, so he didn't lose his tire or anything. I don't know how we don't have a safety car yet.
I'm quite surprised yet myself. Timo or Justin is caught up again, even closer now to West in that first DRS zone, and he'll squeeze up even more now with his second DRS zone. So he needs to switch off his ERS, which he has, conserve it. He's switching up a little bit early. Oh yeah, he's back up again, good. And then set himself up for this next assault. We have Sanex, who was very close to Cubs on there, and that DRX. So we're going to have an interesting battle here. We've got a battle for P1 and a battle for P3 at the moment, and I think we may see a switch here, a switcheroo. Although West seems to be able to do quite enough in that middle sector to kind of start scraping away from Justin, but he cannot break that the DRS gap that he has got. So here we go, up this hill. Justin needs to get a good run. He's a little bit slow with his DRS. He needs to be a lot quicker than that to get into it. As you can see, even with that run, Wes is still maintaining that gap, and it's only now in the later stages of that track, the DRS, he's able to start closing up. Again, not enough. Not enough. He's able to keep within him, but he's not close enough to get the move done.
Which is certainly going to get a move done in Clara. Yeah, that's for P6, and he's been very patient in Sector 2, and now he reaps the rewards. He's got the position, and also Luca gets past Eddie. So the two front runners who both made their own respective mistakes that have thrown them a little bit down the order are now making the best out of the situation. They are coming through the field well. Eddie,
yeah, I'm quite impressed to see that the Cubs on and Sanex are still up there in P3 and P4, considering that they're on the mediums. Of course, it is to be expected that these softs will.
Sanex! He's been drifting completely through turn 6 now, 2 occasions. Anyway, go on, sorry.
I was going to say it is to be expected to see these guys, the soft guys, slowly drop off, but not quite so sudden. So seeing P3 and P4 on their mediums up there with quite a few fast boys on the softs behind them is quite impressive. But as you were saying there, Timo, I have seen Sanex drifting quite a lot myself in those mediums, and that will have a real negative effect on tyre wear. So he may start to struggle earlier than these other boys, and he may be one of the guys praying for a safety car.
JJ's on the way through, but he's not going to get it done quite yet, so he's going to have to look at the back straight. I think the Retta Posta, I'm not sure if that's the corner name.
Wimpy sending it on Eddie, turn 1, and does he get it? He does, he gets stick. And Eddie actually might lose out 2 places here. He might lose out to Larson.
Sanix, too much going on, and JJ and Sanix are fighting, and they're going to go up the hill. Please don't go side by side. Yeah, no, they don't. And JJ got the move done.
Yeah, so did Larson as well. He got the move done on Eddie. So actions all over the track. This is what we like to see. It's almost like a commentator's nightmare though when you've got 2 battles going on, because it's like, which one do you watch?
I mean, normally I never get any battles, and then suddenly it's so many. What's going on?
That's why I love Brazil, man. It's just this type of real old-fashioned wheel-to-wheel racing, which I absolutely love watching and I love being a part of. It's my cup of tea.
Okay, yellow somewhere, I don't know. I think that's
Yeah.
Furiosa's.
Yeah, don't see anybody off at the moment.
Well, also, I mean, if you're watching this and think this is an absolute dominant display by Justin Vessel, don't be deceived, because this is, I mean, they're only 7 seconds up the road from the medium runners, which is, I mean, that's good, but their tires are gonna start falling off soon, and then in the second stint, Cubson and Sanix are certainly gonna get the jump on them with
Exactly.
softs, and now Luca has made his way past Clara. Clara's dropping down Euro quite a bit.
Yeah. See, that's what I was saying at the beginning of the stream. Clara was really seemed to be burning out those tires, trying to defend, and this is what's going to happen. I would expect to see Sanix starting to struggle a little bit sooner than Cubzone as well, just because of that excessive tire abuse that we have seen from them. But yeah, as you're saying, Timo, this is effectively that old cliche, a race of two halves, because the first section of this race is going to be Wes and Justin, but I definitely think the second sector will be Cubzone and maybe Sanix. Of course, that would depend on him massively whether we get a safety car, but Justin has closed up a lot closer on this first stint than he has been, but it's just this exit here, this traction zone. Wes seems to have nailed it just enough so that whenever Justin does get the DRS, it's not enough. He's just able to close up. So it's like a yo-yo effect we're seeing here from P1 and P2.
NJJ and Cubson, and that's an easy position. Well, Cubson did not defend that at all. He knows that NJJ is going to be quick, and I guess he just wants to relax a little bit in the DRS for the end of the stint, take as much DRS as he can off the car of NJJ, and just sail to the end. So, or to the end of the stint to set himself up for success in stint number 2.
Furious was going practically dead slow there on the start. I don't know what happened to him, but he's up to speed again. Does he come into the pits? He does come into the pits.
He's kind of... I mean, he's still struggling with... I think he made the transition to the wheel, right? Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
So, well...
Oh, he's retired.
He's not going to get more practice here because he retires, so that's a shame.
I wonder, is he absolutely... No, I can't. We've done it too many times. Furious in that car.
It's not as funny anymore now that I know that his name is actually not Furious. It's
Furiosus.
Yeah, it's Furiosus. I asked him once in an interview, I think at Hockenheim or something, and he confirmed that it's actually Furiosus. So that's kind of destroyed that joke. I remember I had an entire list of synonyms for Furious, but
well, it's actually really, if we could just diverge slightly, it's actually Fursus, because there's a number 10 in the middle of it.
It's Furtensis, okay?
Furtensis.
Furtensis.
Anyway.
I've never made that joke before. Oh wait, I have. Anyway.
It's the first time for everything, Timo. So yeah, we're rendering the business end now of the first stint of this race, where you see in lap 14, you will expect to see these soft runners coming in anytime now. Maybe up to lap 16 would be the limit, I would say. I was talking to Popo, who's not a slow boy, before this race, saying that he was actually trying to stretch his softs to 22 laps like an absolute madman.
Yeah, I mean, I think you can barely do that. I did, my longest stint in practice was 17 laps, and that was, I think I arrived at like 55%. So I think 22 is just about a stretch, but like you can do 20. It's just gonna kill your tires. But I don't really see a reason to, unless you have psychic powers and know that there's gonna be safety car in the next 4 laps, and of course go ahead do it. But otherwise, I don't really see the benefit in it.
Yeah.
You can't pitch for a little set of soft,
So this gap up front, Timo, is still yo-yoing between... It drops down as low as 4/10, and it goes up to just under a second, and Justin just seems to have no answer to it. Wes is just controlling this pace reasonably comfortably. Although, I don't know how comfortable you could be whenever you know that there's a guy behind you consistently in the DRS. But Wes is not showing any signs of pressure. He's looking nice and calm up there. We got a yellow in sector 3. And I think it may be Rust. He seemed to be going very slow.
Oh, Wimpy is going.
I wonder, is he a little bit rusty? Sorry.
That's why I got you. So I'm not the funniest person.
Oh, Satoshi nearly lost it out of the exit of the last corner there up the hill. Satoshi down in P14.
He's not that massive crash with Clara. So, actually,
Chief up to P10. Yeah, so these sorry, go ahead, Timo.
He needs to pit again, though. That's the problem. What I was gonna say is that I'm still quite impressed by the fact that Wimpy didn't take damage in that massive incident. I have no clue how that happened, but good on him.
See if we can just go back to the names, because there's nobody really up close yet. We've got a yellow in sector 2. We're expecting a couple of pit stops to come in. So can I just can you indulge me for just a moment here? Although in saying that,
like pointing out that Justin has dropped the DRS of Nessie, so I think,
yeah.
I think now
And Cubs on though, Timo, he's really up close behind NJJ here. These softs will have dropped off. NJJ is going very defensive. Here he comes. Here he comes. No, and he doesn't go for it. But he's going to have a run up this.
So ambitious. Oh God.
You can do it, Timo. I've done it. You can do it. But you need a play partner. You need to have a ringmate. There was I can't remember a dance partner. That's what I'm looking for. You need to have a dance partner in those kind of corners. But yeah, if you can indulge me just for the moment. Justin, that racer is in P2. I have often wondered, why does he not change that racer to Incredible? Because then you get just Incredible. I mean, come on, that is genius. Justin, that racer has missed the trick there. He should have come to me when he was picking his names. Justin, that racer, no, drop that and have Credible. Just Incredible. I'm telling you. Anyway, while Timo's recovering from that horrific joke, the boys are indeed coming. I hate you. You love it. You can't get enough of it. Anyway, these boys are pitting. Wes somehow is still staying out on those softs. So Justin is. I don't actually. Do you know what? I was going to say just. Second. I got that on my screen. It's such a subtle track extension that whenever you're coming up the end of that uphill, I mean, very little the car has to go over that curb or whatever you call it, and you get that time penalty. But yeah, I don't think that's not the case of Wes Justin Incredible trying to get the jump on him. I just think he just went for his natural pit. Wes seems to be running a lot deeper than what most people would probably do, but I would expect to see him coming into the pits now. Yeah.
I mean, that's the kind of joke I was expecting from the guy who is in a hospital and steals a chair after being told to take a seat. So, I mean, but that's really what I got what I signed up for. It's my fault.
Well, there you go. I'm consistent as always. I was looking at the times there, and my rough. I can't even speak. My rough mathematics would be that. Yeah, that would be that Justin should still be behind Wessel just by about a second. Let's see. Comes out. Yes, he does indeed come out ahead, and it's just shy of it. Well, it's half a second actually. So that early pitting did not. Well, it's not an early pit, like I said. It was just a normal pit, but Wes goes for the late pit, and he will have one lap advantage now on those mediums. Looking nice and tidy for West now for this race, provided that we don't get a safety car, because a safety car can really mix things up in Brazil, as I saw, Timo, to my detriment yesterday.
Actually, can you check warnings for Justin? Because
I can indeed.
I mean, he's got it. I think he's got it in his hands now if he's aware of the penalty. Because Brazil is just one of these tracks where avoiding warnings can be pretty tough.
He's won, Timo.
He's got
one warning.
Oh wow, well he's doing really well in that case. especially with I mean, that's some really good play. Oh, DJ Marius slides off there as he barely gets out of the way. Oh, he's not gonna ghost it because that's actually for position against XTXP. The XTXP is certainly gonna make the end of that race. I think both of them are actually gonna make the end, and they're gonna fight it out for P15. Oh God! They just crash into each other.
Oh, he comes on track. What are you doing, man? And Satoshi is killed. 5-second time penalty, and he leaves the session most certainly in absolute fury.
That's 2 racing points retiring on their own terms. Okay.
Clara has retired as well.
I was running on board, nothing happened. What was that?
Clara maybe just give up, just had enough, really, because.
It was mid-move.
Hey? And we still haven't got a safety car. How is this possible? Yesterday there was a couple of taps, and there was a 2 safety cars. Granted, one of them was quite a large crash.
Speedy just invited me to a session. I don't know if you thought that through there. Don't know. Well,
And Eddie gets himself a 5-second time penalty in the pit lane. And Andrew gets himself a 3-second time penalty, multiple warning.
He's in 6 now, so...
The penalties are flying in now. Chief into the pits after 20 laps on those mediums. Or medium.
Why do I smell smoke?
You might want to go check there, Timo, that your house not burning down.
I think it's barbecue on. Just gonna close the window.
So you join us, ladies and gentlemen, as Timo's house is burning down. May he rest in eternal peace. Meanwhile, up at P1, Cubson is still in the lead there with his 20-lap medium. Sonic's, 3 seconds behind? And they both pit. So this will, of course, will give that lead back to S, and we should see the continuation of this battle between Wessel and Justin.
Yeah, I mean, I think Cubson and Sadix are gonna come out roughly in the gap between Justin and NJJ, so it's gonna be like, or are they? I'm actually, where's Bertje? Oh, they're gonna come up behind them. I think it's actually gonna be really close at the exit, but Bertje is now in P3, and he's gonna go to the end here, and NJJ is also ahead of them. So they've lost the positions, but now Bertje and NJJ are fighting, and NJJ goes to the outside, and he gets wrestled off, kicks up a little bit of dust. As he has to concede that was some, I mean, he got more than his elbows out. That was like,
yeah.
He was absolutely T-posing there with the track.
I mean, yeah, you can do, you can do that move what they done, but you can do it a little bit cleaner. I mean, I'm not saying it wasn't clean, because it was reasonably, but it was a little bit punchy.
I mean, you've driven against Rick, so you've seen worse, but then again,
you've
seen better. What?
Yes, like me yesterday.
Oh.
Flex.
I do not believe you. Anyway, so, well, Curbzon and Sanix, both of them lost 2 positions to the pit strategy, of course, while they were driving around on old mediums. The others were on fresh mediums, so they lost some time, and they also lost the positions to Bertje and NJJ, but now they are on fresh softs, and they are in, or at least Curbzon is in the DRS, so it is all to play for him. The only problem he's got is the fact that NJJ is going to have that sweet DRS as well, so he needs to gain out everything in these corner exits where he's going to have more mechanical grip, because on the straight line he's not going to do it just by that, and then NJJ gets really sideways there, so it's going to enable Curbzon to be super close. Oh, that might have been a warning. To get super close to him, and maybe on the next straight he's finally up for it. He needs to get through soon though, because the gap between Justin and NJ and Bertje for P2 is 6 seconds. So if himself and Curbzon and himself still want to fight for the top 2 positions here, they will need to get past, and they will need to do it soon to start closing the gap.
So Kitty said in chat that your mic's not quite loud enough, Timo. It's been that way for quite a while.
Well, that's terribly unlucky. Hello.
So, NJJ is right up the chuff of Bertie. We're going to get quite a little bit of an action here between these guys with this DRS zone. Birdie might actually lose out 2 places.
Yeah, I think before NJJ is going to lose the position to Coops, and he's actually going to gain one, so he goes up into P3. It's only on track though because he's got loads of penalties, but he's finally got that done. I just wonder if Bertie is actually interested in getting that back right here and there. He doesn't get a choice, so it's not.
But he's going to send it up here. You can do it if you're brave enough, but no. It's a very brave move that to try and send something down the inside of that corner.
I mean, it's fairly clean, to be honest.
Yeah, I was going to say it usually ends in disaster, but it can be done if you follow, if you kind of study the guy in front of you and he keeps taking it wide. Well, then why not?
I mean, Coops or Bertie doesn't really have a reason to, because then he just loses the privilege of being the second in the DRS train.
He ran a little bit too wide there. He got a dirty exit.
Oh no! That's Coops on, and he's on softs, and he's flying, and he's gonna go around the outside, and he will be able to break a lot later than the Alfa Romeo, and we're gonna see that right now. Even though,
go on, get the car back. Go on, lift, sink it! This is it. Over to the left as quick as you can. Oh, but Birdie covers it off really early. Now, what he should do here is he should brake early and get the switch in. Switch back. No, he goes for the late brake. He's going to get run off track. Seen that one coming, but he's still got his car there, so he might be able to slip it up the inside here. You can do it. Is he going to go for it? No, he's not.
Very well defended.
Yeah, I like that from Birdie. That was, I do like a good defensive move myself.
Oh, really good, yeah. So yeah, what I was gonna say, for Bertie there's not much profit in like diving here, because then he just loses the DRS privilege for the main straight.
Exactly.
And then he is suddenly the hunted. You don't want to do that. You don't want to do the DRS train. You want to be second.
Yeah, yesterday whenever I was doing my race.
Hey,
my goodness!
Well, now Bertie doesn't get it. Oh my god, we're gonna get 3 wide. He goes inside, comes on!
Watch yourself, son!
A great double overtake. Great double overtake for him, and that's exactly what he needed, because now he's got the 5 seconds and he might be able to close them to Justin Vestel. Actually, Vestel has now cleared Justin out of the DRS again, and if he gains 1.3 seconds till the end of this race, then he might just get away with this, even though he has a penalty. And Last has also passed Wimpy down the main straight. No, Wimpy cannot count. Almost gets on the grass on the outside there, but nothing happens. So Wimpy down P9, Last in P8.
Yeah, so I was going to say there that NJJ is probably going to hate the fact that the Cubs was behind him, because I have experienced no sooner than yesterday up in P7, big flex, in SLR Tier 1 on reasonably well-worn mediums, and then the guys came out on the soft safety car on fresh softs, and I just dropped.
Luca's dead!
You'll not like that. And he does the big retire. So we don't know what happened. Yeah, but I just find myself dropping down the order with these guys in the fresh softs. The fresh softs in the later stages of the race is quite powerful if it's done right. And Cubs is going to, I think, benefit here nicely. Although what I did see yesterday was that if the medium runners can keep reasonably close enough to these fresh softs guys, that they will get a second bite of the cherry, because the softs will be dead. Mediums will still have a little bit of life left. I seen that firsthand yesterday on the very last lap, that Mr. Triton on his old mediums got the move done on Justin, who had worn softs. So it can be done if these medium runners can just keep up with Cubs on. Birdie may still get that P3, penalties permitting. And Wimpy is just under half a second. Oh yeah, sorry, that's Inferno. Yeah. Passing the ghosted car. So yeah, not really much happening now. There's a little bit of quite a few gaps opened up here nicely. Birdie is going to have the DRS on Cubs on. Not going to get a move done here. Not much battery either, but this will help him squeeze up. And then, of course, he'll get that second bite as well of the DRS zone. Cubs on a little bit deep, but covers it off nicely, or corrects it nicely. But we're not going to see a move here. Is Wimpy going to get a move done? No, he lost quite a lot of time there coming to that last corner. So, Timo, while we're waiting for these guys to close up again, Indescribable. There's something I've mentioned before. I'm going to ask you, Timo, and the people listening. It's not like I'm repeating myself because, you know. But how can something be described as indescribable when you're describing it as being indescribable? For something to be described as indescribable, it means it's undescriptible. You cannot describe it. But you are describing it as being indescribable, so therefore it's not indescribable. So I think the Oxford Dictionary, or the founders of the English language, should remove the word indescribable from the English language, because it's useless.
But as soon as it's removed from the dictionary, then you can't describe that. Then there are things that aren't describable anymore, and that's actually
that's a fair comment, Timo. So let me correct then. I think they should change the definition of indescribable. The idea of this word indescribable means that you are using indescribable to describe something that is indescribable. But that's rubbish, because you're describing it as being indescribable. It's like, why do you chop a tree down, and then when you've chopped the tree down, you chop it up? Where's the sense in that?
So you want the definition to be changed to
a word used when you can't find another word to describe it, just call it indescribable. I don't know. We need Terror back so I can pick his brain. And it's like I've asked before, is a slug naked or homeless?
DJ Mario is doing donuts, and he's not won the championship, so he's not allowed to. That's rude.
Yes, Mario, you're not allowed to do that if that was intentional, because that can bring out a safety car. We've seen that in the past.
Actually, something worth mentioning, apart from your dictionary facts, is the fact that Justin is now more than 3 seconds behind Verstappen.
Mario's dead!
Who?
Luigi will not be happy. He just died. Oh, he's lost again!
That's hot tires for you. Oh no, please don't rejoin.
No, please don't make it a third. Go on, Mario. Make it a third spin. On the.
Oh god, that's Vesely passing by, but he's gonna be ghosted, so there's no danger there. And now you can visually see it. Kubzon is within 2 seconds of Justin, and actually, if you can close those 2 seconds and get ahead of Justin, this might just be Kubzon's race to win.
Oh, Mario is taking the scenic route around Brazil, it seems. And at some point he is going to have to just call it a day, because he could potentially become a hazard on track. It's one thing, to try and just... Yeah, I don't know what he's doing. He's messing around with these gears.
We've got car ghosting, so...
Yeah, but it still will have a negative effect on other drivers. See, just having a car there can put you off. He's lifting off on the main straight. I think, Mario, this is who's the team principal of Alfa Romeo? And he hits the wall. We're coming into the pits. Retire the car, Mario. Car.
Also, I just for the first time found out that he's not called I am Bertier. He's called Lambertier.
Ah.
That's an L.
Just call him Bertie.
But it's Bertier. It's not an I, it's a J.
It's Paris, not Paris. Huh? What about that one? What about that? It's the same principle. It's like, it's champagne, not champagne.
Champagne.
It's like c'est cidre, not cider. See, it's all, it changes.
Larson and Wimpy. Larson's got Wimpy. That's for P7. So he's got that one done, and he's now facing a 15-second gap, so I don't think there's any ambitions to close that. He will just look to stay ahead, and actually, Justin is within 5 seconds of Vesely again. Also, I think names are something different than words that are just called different things in different languages. I don't know why you called it Munich. It's called München. What are you talking about?
Exactly, it's Munich.
But that's different translations, like...
Exactly, that's the point.
But names can't be translated.
That's
names
my
can't magic. Names are not translated. Like if you call
it is. Well, that's why the Canadians say Moscow when it's Moscow.
But it's different because
it's not different. It's the same. It's just different way of saying it. It's a preference of life. There is no right or wrong way to say anything.
Well, that's
They're
true,
they're just manufactured sounds that we put meaning to. That's all. That's all it is. That's all language is. It's just complicated sounds. That's all it is.
I always make that argument in completely different discussions, but that's not the point.
I bet you didn't think you'd have a debate about the pronunciation of language in the middle of a race in Brazil. But hey, that's what you get for when you ask me.
That's my life now.
You knew what you signed up to, Timo, when you sent me that little message. Can you do teacher with me? Yes. But you're going to have to put them in abuse.
You're just trying really hard to commentate 1 hour less next week.
This is eating into my practice in Brazil that I was going to use to beat you.
Yeah, that's why I called you.
Dirty tricks. Interesting tactics, Timo.
I think we're going to have a fight for the lead last lap, so because Kubson with 11 lap old softs is on to Justin with 15 lap old mediums, and they are both 2.3 seconds behind Vessel, so that means technically right now Justin's leading the way, but Kubson is closing in rapidly, and I think this might just be his race to win. I think they're gonna have similar time, but still, I mean, I think the softs are gonna have just about an advantage, and also that's of course the DRS. So Justin's going to have a little bit of trouble, but maybe he can he can do heroic last 3 laps of this race to stay in P2. Well, P2 on the road, P1 on the score sheet. But I think this might just be done now, because that was a really good run from Kubs, and you can just see how much more mechanical grip that Red Bull car has. And he goes to the outside, and Vessel can just see how they negotiate for P1 in his rearview mirror as Kubsan goes through for P2. So Justin has just lost that. He's just lost the net lead of the race, and he is going to be a little bit furious about that, because he really wanted to win that one, I'm sure. He's already champion, but he's dropped the assist, and now he wants to... I mean, he wanted to get a podium, but I'm sure victory would have been even better for him. It looks like he's going to have trouble to achieve that now.
It's been a really commanding drive from West. Just a shame he's got that 3-second time penalty, but there is still enough laps left for these boys behind him to catch a penalty. So we'll see, but this is a fantastic drive from Cubzone, I have to admit. An absolutely fantastic... Oh, Justin nearly loses it! He really got it sideways there.
We've seen that before. We've seen it from Bertie, we've seen it from Luca, both in this race. We've seen it from Jensen yesterday. So
yeah. It's easy to do in that corner. I mean, I've seen a lot of guys doing it in Tier 1 yesterday as well. I mean, it is tricky. Just here as well, where Justin is. Again, he nearly loses it. He's really struggling on those 17-lap mediums, so that would kind of suggest to me that maybe his driving style is a little bit aggressive for the mediums, because I don't think he should be struggling this much on the mediums.
I think he's desperate to hang on. If you compare the... Oh, actually both don't have any proper ERS left in their batteries, so that's that. So they are fighting on equal grounds, and they both think, oh damn, I don't have anything to hold on to this, I need to push now. And I think maybe Justin, I mean, he might be a little bit more prone to making mistakes without the assists now, so...
yeah. It's a bit eager on the throttle, but he's doing alright, he's doing good, yeah. While they're approaching the final lap, I just checked the chat, and apparently I'm being accused of having Alzheimer's, to which Kitty just said, no, he's just old.
Oh.
I mean, I get abuse everywhere I go, Timo. I get abuse. All I spread is love. So I don't know.
And facts about toads. Isn't
oh yeah.
She
is. Oh, that's right. She is. She's 36 and I'm 35. No, wait. Sorry, she's 35 and I'm 35, but she's going to be 36 in June. 21st of June. So get wrecked, Kitchen in chat. Get wrecked. You're older than me.
How dare you call this young man old? Oh, NJJ's dropped the position to Sanix. They're actually fighting. It's the last lap. Maybe I should have. Oh, wow, what a switchback. Sanix drops to the inside. Now they're going to run side by side up the hill, I think. But NJJ has maybe got this. Sanix with the softs on the outside. That is absolutely brilliant driving from them on the last lap. Everything on the line. Sanix does one of his usual drifts. And now he's still got his nose in. But I think NJJ might have just cleared him. I don't even think this is full position unless he loses it here because NJJ's got more penalties, I believe. So I think he didn't need to hold on with his dear life there. But still, it was a flashy move from NJJ. Gotta give him that. But he's gonna drop down to P6.
Crosses the line. Race winner on track, but it's gonna be Cubzon, I believe, who takes the win. Yes, he does.
Oh, Justin. Justin had a penalty. Or what? No, oh no, he was outside of the... He was just outside of the window. So he missed just...
Look how close he was from P2.
Yeah, I mean...
From 0.018.
You just have to think over these 36 laps, you needed to like half lose it on traction once less, and that would have been it. But well, that's how racing works. So.
And the thing is also, I believe Inferno Koi will have quite a lot of penalties, and so if Chief doesn't, he may get his P10 as he crosses the line, and he gets... No, he doesn't. He misses out on the P10.
Oh, Wimpy's got a point, even though he had this absolutely massive crash with Satoshi, which for some miracle didn't damage his car. I'm actually thinking, did we have a single car damaged this race? I'm not even sure we had.
I don't think so.
I got to the point where I was questioning if damage was even a thing, but nah, it's just the drivers being incredibly clean.
I'm actually more surprised we didn't see a safety car.
Yeah, same. The tier 2 races, both without safety cars.
Oh, that was quite an impressive race. I enjoyed that one.
Yeah. Well,
Second section of the race was
up. To come back next week.
We'll see. We'll see if Triton gets out of his bed. I was going to say something else there, but I realized it was live, so that would be
nice.
No. Yeah. I was going to actually, no, I just stop speaking.
Yeah, it's usually advisable. Well, that was really exciting. I mean, the first 8 laps were completely full of action. There was so much going on, and there was so many fights at once. Sometimes I really wished we had a split screen or something, because there's always something going on. Really hard to have it all in focus, and in the end we have the top 3 within a second. So that shows you what a great race it was. I don't know if that was Kubson's first race win. Didn't he win last time in I actually don't know.
He did. But I can't remember.
I think when it comes to driver of the day, he probably takes the cake, even though Larson gained.
Larson did a good job too.
Positions, but we're not the F1 game commentators, so I think Kubson just did brilliantly. Compensated for that not quite so good qualifying from P7, which was still good, but like not as good as the others, and he compensated for that by taking the reverse strategy, and there was no safety car, so he played that full. He played that to its fullest, and so managed to work that gap down and worked out.
Where did Cubson qualify?
7th.
On the softs?
On the intermediates.
Oh yes, sorry, I wasn't thinking. So I was thinking, see what he done, then maybe do that today myself. But no, he done well. Well done to him. Yeah, those softs at the end, that at the last section or the last stint of Brazil, can be really, really demotivating for the guys up ahead on the mediums, as I experienced yesterday. As I was saying, you just drop. You just cannot do anything about it. They're just going to have so much more pace, especially in Sector 2 in Brazil. They're just so grippy, those softs, and you'll just start dropping down. So, I mean, like yesterday, that's whenever I was on that situation where I was on like mostly part worn mediums, and I had Danny and Hugo and the likes all catching me in their fresh softs. I didn't really fight them. There's no point. They're faster anyway. But especially on fresh softs, it was, futile to fight them. So yeah, that can be really demotivating in some respects. Like, I'm doing really well, and then the soft guys, you just passing one after the other, and suddenly you go from 7th to 11th. It's like, ugh, and an opportunity lost. But lo and behold, will we get some interviews?
Yeah, we're gonna get our weekly chat with Justin, like we always do.
I want to ask him about his name change.
Oh, do you want to do the full interview?
No.
You want to get the one fun question and then...
Yeah, you do all the boring official stuff, and then let me do all the class exciting stuff. That's how it works, Timo.
Absolutely.
That's why being a co-commentator is brilliant. I have absolutely no responsibility at all.
Please come back, Tara. Please!
Tara's really professional, right? But I am not, and I don't care.
I mean...
He's professionally trained,
Tara,
I'm not.
Tara, if you see this, you know, I mean, we've been a really good commentary duo, and I've heard that you have this opportunity of having the 700 pound flight through Reykjavik and Kiev or something. Take it! I need help! Please!
I wouldn't be surprised, Timo, if you start sending him the money. Here's 700 quid. Please come back.
Free me off the train.
See what you've done, Tara. See what you've done, Tara. You have left the safety of the comms booth, protecting Timo, and you have let my grippy hands get to him. Whoa. That sounds slightly creepy, so let's get on to the interviews.
Yeah, I mean, that's just the extension of what you wrote in the HCC Council chat anyways, so...
That's because of that.
We're gonna get Justin into the chat. Hello, Justin. Hello, are you there?
Hello.
Hello.
Justin.
Hello.
Hello, Justin.
So, that was...
Justin, I would like to ask you a question.
Really, you want to lead with that?
Yes, I'm going to lead with that, and then I'm going to drink, alright? Whether you like it or not, I don't care. I told you before, this is what you signed up to, Timo, when you asked me, so that's what you're going to get. And unfortunately, Justin is going to get a little bit too. Mr. Justin, are you listening?
Yes.
Okay, Mr. Justin. I was watching you racing, all right? And I often see your name, Justin That Racer. And I often thought to myself, you have missed an absolute trick. You should change That Racer to Incredible.
Just
Then you'll be
incredible.
called Just Incredible. Hey? Hey? Come on. That's genius. Genius. Like, I can't help it if you guys cannot see that intellectual move, but that's genius. Anyway.
Dipsy, are you having fun?
I'm having an absolute laugh and I haven't even drunk any alcohol yet.
It's just... Okay, let's get serious.
I need to be careful because no, I'll not say nothing. Oh. Okay, Justin, I'll leave you to the more professional hands of Mr. Timo. Timo, ask your questions.
Oh God. Well,
Get yourself together there, Timo. Come on. He's waiting, Timo. Ask your question.
you already answered one question. No,
And answered the question. You just gave some audible grunt.
okay, Justin. So that race was quite close. I mean, that was basically maybe not for you in the middle section of that race, but there was action all through that race, and you were like always within around 3 seconds of Vessel, which was that magic mark for the penalty, and the first sector you could hold your ground really well. How did you experience the race? Did you feel like Vessel was genuinely quicker, and as soon as you lost the RS it was kind of over, or how did you experience it?
Well, I felt I had good pace throughout the whole race. I was definitely keeping within the 1 second mark to Vessel. But then people started leaving, it started giving me connection issues, and I was lagging back ever so slightly. And it cost me the DRS and also backmarkers racing me, which didn't help either. And also people on soft tires, which also didn't help either. Yeah, it was alright. It could have been the race win, but I'll take my first podium with no assists.
Yeah, I mean, congratulations for that, of course. I mean, the connection certainly explained something, because it was quite surprising. You were looking comfortable there, and then you kind of lagged out, and then like at some point it was 2.2, and 1 lap later was 3.0. So and then you were able to close it back in. So probably wasn't the pace. So that's really unlucky. I mean, must be a little bit disappointing to
Yes.
to lose out also to Vessel that close. How did you? I mean, as soon as Kobzan got the move done on the guys behind you, did you immediately feel the pressure, or was it something that came up later in the race?
Well, I kept checking Jeff to see, what's the time with the guy behind, and I was a 10th quicker every lap. But then, yeah, as you say, it mostly affected me later on in the race, like 5 laps before the end, when the lag really started to kick in a bit. And then every lap he was 0.5 a second quicker, even a second quicker, and eventually he overtook me.
When he overtook you, did it feel like you still had like some sort of chance to fight back, or was it just done and dusted then?
Well, I kind of let him by, hoping that I'd be able to use the DRS train to use him and maybe overtake him at the last couple of laps. But then literally at the corner right after he overtook me, I lagged back and I was already a second out. So yeah, that was the dream gone, I guess, from then.
Yeah, that's tough. Like, we all know that this game's not really optimized that well.
Yeah.
But luckily you only have one race into SRL on this game to go, and that's gonna be Abu Dhabi next week. Do you think it's? Do you think you have a shot for getting your first on assists win doing it on this game, or is it something you think is gonna happen next game likely?
Well, I hope for it to happen next race, because with assists I was pretty quick. Without assists, logically I should be quicker. But if it's not next race, I think maybe I can come back strong in Australia and hopefully win an F1 2020.
Yeah, if I can just say, Timo, I'm really impressed with Justin. Whenever he came onto the scene, obviously, he had the assists. It's something I say often whenever I'm on comms. I like to see guys try to get off them. And I know Max Blitz is one guy in particular. I often think he was remarkably fast whenever he had his assists on, and he just decided to say, to hell with it, I'm going to drop these assists and I'm going to grind it. And of course you do see him on the lower areas of the finishing positions, but he doesn't get demotivated from it. He keeps trying, and that's what I would say to Justin. Although he was the other side of it, he was winning with, well, I'm talking to you, it's rude for me to say that in the third person, sorry, but I'll talk to you, Justin. You were doing brilliantly with your assists, winning the championship, if I can remember correctly, and then you've worked on dropping them, and I don't think I can remember really anyone in the many 3 odd years that I've been here doing this. I'm sure there is someone if I think long and hard enough about it, but I can't really think of anyone who I can think of recently who has been fast with their assists, drop them, and consistently, well, not consistently because you're slowly getting up to that speed, but haven't really lost any of your pace. And then to take it on forward to Brazil, in a wet qualifying on your mediums with no assists, to put it in the top 3, I just thought that was just incredible.
Thank you.
Maybe you can band together with your fellow Frenchman, Max Spilz, to create the French powerhouse in SLR Tier 1.
Yeah.
I'd like to see that maybe next season. Well, we're going to see. Anyways, congrats on the first podium, even though it wasn't the first win. I wish you the best of luck for next week Sunday to end the season, and for that matter also the game off on a high, and so good luck for that. Thanks for joining us in the commentary, and please don't name yourself to Just Incredible. Thank you. Good evening. See ya.
Bye.
I don't think he approves, Timo.
I don't think he approves either, but that's just a natural thing.
I'm a bit disappointed, to be honest.
Well, sometimes genius is undervalued, but this is certainly not.
Thank you, Timo.
This is certainly not the case.
Thank you very much.
Anyway, so
everyone heard that Timo just attributed the word genius towards me. Thank you very much. I'm done.
I did specifically. You didn't let me. I hate you, Tipsy. I